Coach Todd Golden previewed the game and stressed the physicality that Virginia brings.
Different style, similar to Wake Forest, a team that prefers to operate in the half court. I think they always have been and continue to be a really good defensive team. Dictating tempo, getting the game going up and down a little bit, and just being prepared for their physicality, I think is really, really important. We can't be caught off guard by that. We can't be surprised by that early on in the game because that's just how they play. That's, probably their biggest strength is their togetherness and their physicality and toughness.
Gators and Virginia tip off tonight at 7:15. Catch the game live on 10 a.m. It's 60 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hi, I'm Fred Taylor from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is the Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon on 1010XL.
Call 207-7070 now. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL. Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
All right, Heeligans, you have a charge over the next 2 hours. And it's not because we're competitive. It's not that at all. It has to do with the fact that we are close to raising $2 million since the J Fund Radiothon started. That's right, RJ. 17 years ago. We are very close to that $2 million mark, and we need y'all's support. We need to hit it during our show. I have multiple people who told me they would not call in their donations until noon. So now y'all can certainly call. You can call 904-207-7070 or text GOAL 44834. Call into that Community First Hope Hub. They're down in our cubicle area, and they were very busy when I was in there, so I need them to continue to be busy. Remember, we are asking you to give $115 because 115 kids in our area are diagnosed with cancer each year. Yes, that's gone up, but there's a reason for that. Everyone who's ever complained about the price of eggs, the price of gas, now is when you give that $115, or feel free to give more.
And our thanks to the Lewis family, Mike, Jane, Michael, Emily, and Jennifer, who are matching any donations made from now until 1 p.m. up to $6,000. So that is your charge, Heeligans. We need to raise $6,000 in the next hour. Word on the street is that we'll have another fun little match that we may have to reach a little bit later in the program. So stick around for that. But hey, let's focus on the here and now. $6,000. It's 12:03 p.m. Eastern time right now. Between now and 1 p.m., let's hit that $6,000 mark if you haven't made your donation already to support families tackling childhood cancer.
$2 million. I mean, that's incredible. And every year, Lauren, since I've been here, which is now 9.5 almost years that I've been at 1010XL, and I remember the first time being a part of this and just realizing how important it actually is and how many things it actually does. And I shared the story earlier in the year that I have two friends whose baby got diagnosed with cancer when he was 4 months old. He luckily just got his 2-year clear scans, which is fantastic and great news. Not everybody gets that news. And also they're fortunate enough to where they didn't need the financial help. There are a lot of families who do. So this day will always mean a ton to all of us. But I think that 2 million mark just shows how incredible Jacksonville is.
It absolutely is. Our community rallies around one another, and the families that come in here, we'll have a couple throughout the course of our show. They'll share with you just how much it means to them. This isn't, a person that you hear about down the line. Like, these are actual families in our community that hear the worst thing they could possibly hear, and that is that their child has been diagnosed with cancer. And some of them get to go in remission, like you said, Taylor, and some of them will battle it for years. We talked to Lisa and Jeremiah recently about their son, Thomas, and how he's still battling 3 years after being diagnosed. And so we need y'all to give.
And as much as, yes, we are focused on that $6,000 goal for the next hour, because we are a little competitive here at 1010XL. We're all one team, and we want to focus on that big overarching number. And I see a member of the J Fund team just walked in to write that latest number that we are currently sitting at, a grand total through 12 p.m. Eastern of $130,339 has been raised so far for the Tom Coughlin J Fund. Now, our goal, $250,000. So that means we are still 120 short of that goal. So you have from now until 7 p.m. Eastern to give to help these families. But if you really want to give right now during your lunch break, during Helmets and Heels, that would be most appreciated.
Certainly. We're on until 2 p.m. We'll take those donations. My mom is up in New York celebrating her birthday, and she said, even though she is gallivanting across the city, New York Times Square and all that fun stuff, she's going to give during this time, and so's Brian as well. So we appreciate y'all's donations and get them in.
And we appreciate those who also participated in the drive. I know my mom and dad already gave their donation during the drive, the 2-week lead up to the 17th annual Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon. So we appreciate, look, as much as we're asking for the $115 donation in honor of the 115 families that are facing childhood cancer, because 115 children are diagnosed with cancer in the Jacksonville area each year. Any gift is most appreciated.
Yeah, and it stays right here in our local community. We know Kelly Coughlin well, certainly, and the family has poured so much into this. Heard Tom Coughlin this morning, and just how much it means from the start of it with Jay McGillis 29 years ago to now, all the different people that have been helped. And again, you're going through something. It's already bad enough that you have to deal with the emotional aspect of it, but then to be slapped with that financial burden and your other kids having to lose, some of their childhood memories because their sibling is going through this. And the J Fund is helpful in so many ways, and so we will talk to those families throughout the course of the show. Doug Peterson did meet with media today. Mia, Trevor is in concussion protocol still. I don't think that's that much of a surprise. He wasn't nearly as forceful as Nick Caserio with his comments, but he did say he was a little surprised about D'Amico Ryans and what he said.
Yeah. I am fascinated by the feedback, by the commentary from you Heeligans, from Jaguars fans throughout Duval after Doug Peterson's comments this morning. In short, I know we're going to get the audio fired up here in just a second as we just got that into HQ, but Doug Peterson, this is me typing the quote, with regards to D'Amico's comments, that was, to your point, Lauren, the most fiery that he got. And he said he was a little surprised. I've got a ton of respect for D'Amico. He's a former player. I'm a former player. Emotions run high. I would say this, if the same thing happened to their quarterback, the reaction would have been the same, quite frankly. That was on the heels of his comments when he was specifically asked about the 3-game suspension to Azeez Al-Shaair. And he said it's not his place to speak about the length of the punishment, the nature of the punishment. And then he said, good player, just a play that somehow needs to get out of the game if possible. I stand behind our guys for the reaction. It's a natural reaction. The team is going to respond. Both teams were very professional in the second half. Clean football game. A credit to both teams. And I know there are those of you out there who feel like that was not enough. So if you are fired up, if you feel like Doug Peterson should have said more, if he should have been like Nick Caserio dropping cuss words in a press conference, hit us up on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosure, 641-1010, or at the MyBookie Digital Studio. Search 1010XL on YouTube, X, or Facebook, and leave us a comment.
Yeah, I mean, I think I personally would have liked more, but I've been very critical on a lot of the things Doug has done dating back to December of last year. So I just feel like, I mean, at this point, we talk about, and I don't love what D'Amico Ryans said, but what he did have is his players back 1,000%, even if it wasn't the right thing. And I would have liked a little bit more out of Doug, and maybe some. The coach called out your team and blamed your team for overreacting in this situation, and that doesn't make you want to come back at them and add a little bit more into that. So I get it. There was probably the most fieriness we've seen from him, but we've also seen a lot of dull from Doug the last 2 months, where it's just been beating around the bush when it comes to answers, when it comes to saying, oh, we've done this, but I'm not going to tell you what it is, or all of these things. And I just feel like it's been a lot of games, and I don't like it. So, yes, you got a little bit more, but to me, I would have liked even more. Like, there's a GM and coaches and players all bashing your team of how they reacted to an altercation that stemmed from your quarterback getting taken out of the football game and getting a concussion. And I want a little bit more out of that.
I do have to wonder, does maybe Doug Peterson not think it's as dirty of a hit or as cheap of a shot that a lot of us think, because of the way that he didn't overreact? It seemed he wasn't super angry.
I'm at this point where I think
Heeligan just texted that in.
I think he hates Trevor.
Some people do believe that they don't have the best relationship. I'm not going to speak to that. All I know is the way that all of Duval responded. You know, you see those fans in the end zone throwing water bottles at the player, and I'm not advocating that you throw things on the field, but I understand where they were coming from.
Yeah.
People wanted to fight Al-Shaair, and when it didn't feel like Doug was in that category, you just have to wonder, well, did he think, oh, well, yeah, Trevor should have slid earlier?
I would have definitely lost that fight, and I wanted to fight.
I will tell you this. The measured, if you want to call it political, you can call it political response from Doug Peterson this morning, is who he is. This is who Doug is. He's not going to try to rock the boat too much. He is not Nick Caserio where he's going to be dropping cuss words. That's not in his nature.
But he has clapped back at reporters this season,
So
right?
you can get an attitude with your media, but you can't get an attitude out of coach who just disrespected your entire organization and team.
But I think because that's just who he is. He would never react that way to someone else in the inner circle of the National Football League. As he noted, D'Amico Ryans was a player. He was a player. There's a certain code there where he just doesn't want to rock that boat. And that is where, ultimately, big picture, this is a reflection of who Doug is in general. And I think it's a reflection of who the Jacksonville Jaguars are. Mm-hmm. What was the comment made in the locker room postgame that I know Bucky Brooks of both Jaguars Radio Network and the NFL Network was upset about after Sunday's loss? It was, well, we didn't want to get fined. We didn't want to create more of a melee, more of a scene. And Bucky said, look, let someone else pay the fine. Like the fine should not be front of mind. But clearly in listening to Doug and Doug saying, well, we wanted to play a clean game. We wanted to focus and honor the game. And this, I'm paraphrasing here, but that is the reflection of the head coach all coming full circle.
And the lack of physicalness in this team from the get-go. And we talked about that back in March, and I've brought this up several times, where when he was asked about the physicality of a team, and he's like, football's physical, everybody's physical. And I was like, no, like there's teams that are more physical. Those are the teams that are good. Those are the Baltimore Ravens. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those are teams that are winning football games, and you're not. And now it's showing on the football field and in your press conference that now the whole NFL is going to be like, oh, well, the Texans coach and GM massively defended their guys and their side of the altercation. And he just kind of was like, we're both former players.
Yeah, and Jaguars fans, of course, are also like, oh, a GM speaking in the middle of a season.
What?
That's
that
fairly
like?
surprising. All right, our Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon continues. Call the community first, Hope Hub 904-207-7070 or text GOAL 44834. Again, we're asking you to donate $115, but you can donate as little or as much as you want. We will say hello to our first J Fund family on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
If you're feeling undervalued where you bank or lost in the shuffle, it might be time for a change. Community First Credit Union makes changing easy and worth it. We've been helping the people of North Florida live their best lives for over 9 decades, and we're here to help you too. If you open a Community First checking account, we'll give you a $200 bonus, and you don't have to refer anyone to get it. Visit communityfirstfl.org for details. Member NCUA. Bonus requires deposits totaling $1,000 or more and 10 debit transactions within the first 90 days of account opening.
Mia here, the holidays are around the corner, and the last thing you want is a septic emergency. Call Duck Duck Rooter and schedule your septic tank pump out or full system inspection today before Grandma and Uncle Eddie come to town. That's Duck Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769. Don't let a septic disaster be the highlight of your holiday dinner. Visit duckduckrooter.com or call today, 904-862-6769.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Helmets and heels.
Mia here for MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step 1, use our promo code 1010XL. That will double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays. Why wait? That's right there, a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now and get your double deposit bonus with MyBookie, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere with MyBookie. MyBookie.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Come to Monahan Jewelers' 47th annual holiday sale now with up to 30% off GIA certified diamonds and up to 40% off our entire store. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. We're not a big box store. We're your local family jeweler with an amazing hand-picked inventory for every budget, and with interest-free financing, enjoy beautiful jewelry with a low monthly payment. Support your local family jeweler this Christmas with up to 40% off our entire inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, open 7 days a week in December.
I-9 Sports covers the First Coast with great sports for kids 3 to 17, and winter and spring registration is open right now. New girls volleyball and flag at Duval Charter, plus plenty for boys and girls in Nocatee, too. It's all at i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code.
To give to Tom Coughlin's J Fund, text the word GOAL to 44834 now.
I'm living proof that with Rebound Rehab, you can bounce back and get back in the game. Joe C. for Rebound Rehabilitation, and they helped me recover from an ankle injury that had me down and out. Their team of physical therapists ensure you'll get the best treatment you need to recover and regain mobility. From back, shoulder, and neck pain to a nagging knee or arthritis, Rebound Rehab can help form a game plan through therapy and exercise, complete with an app so you can continue to recover at home. Check out reboundrehab.com. 8 convenient locations.
1010XL's early high school signing period coverage is shaped by San Jose Collision.
I want you to go celebrate. Feel good about yourself tonight, okay? Come on.
Listen all day as our star high school athletes reveal where they plan to play their college ball.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE neograft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
1010XL and the J Fund thank Taco Lou for taking care of today's J Fund volunteers with lunch. We appreciate Taco Lou keeping the Community First Hope Hub volunteers and J Fund staff powered up as they take your calls in support of today's Radiothon.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hi, I'm Patrick Young, former Florida Gator and SEC Network broadcaster, and this is the Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon on 1010XL.
Call 904-207-7070 now.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you, and we are joined by our first J Fund guest, Emily Edwards. Emily, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. All right, so take us through the last year. Your son Duke, who's now 7, was diagnosed with glioblastoma. I have a feeling you'd probably never heard that word before.
Yeah, it's definitely a steep learning curve when your child gets diagnosed with cancer or a brain tumor, for sure.
Now, as far as the process, walk us through. Is Duke at a regularly scheduled doctor's appointment? Was there something out of character that was a warning sign and forced you guys to seek treatment?
Yeah, so we had actually known something was off for years before he was diagnosed. We never could figure out quite what was going on. What was diagnosed as failure to thrive, which is basically a lack of weight gain and growth that you would expect for a child with no known cause as to why that was happening. So we were always really concerned about that. His energy in the months prior to him being diagnosed started to really go down. He was really having a hard time staying awake when he was at first grade. And his teacher had reached out and said, she noticed that he didn't want to partake in recess and was kind of having a hard time staying awake after lunchtime. And we kind of thought on the weekends we were seeing that. We thought he was just exhausted from going to first grade all day. So we kind of just finally had this moment where we were really not comfortable with, how he seemed, and we weren't comfortable with the lack of answers anymore. And so we decided we were going to go on a random Thursday up to Wolfson's Hospital downtown, and we were going to basically say we're not leaving until you test everything that you could possibly test, because we're really concerned for his well-being. So they started running tests. We had always kind of suspected it was something related to his stomach or intestines because of the fact that he wasn't growing. So we were pretty surprised when they ordered a CT scan of the head. And come to find out, that's when they found he had a brain tumor about the size of a lemon in his head that whole time.
How do you explain that to Duke when you first hear something like that? Because a kid, for an adult, it's hard enough to understand in that situation.
Yeah, it's really difficult to know what to say. Obviously, we're trying to understand, what this means and trying to understand the severity of the situation. Before we are comfortable answering questions for him. So at first we kind of held off on explaining anything. And then after we had a minute to discuss with the doctors what was happening and we understood a little bit more, we explained to him that in terms that a 6-year-old can understand, that he had a bad guy in his head that was causing problems and causing some of the different things that maybe he didn't know were stemming from that. And that, that we were going to do everything we could to kick the bad guy out and fight him and hopefully have him experience a much better quality of life in the long run.
So then I'm guessing the next step was surgery?
Yeah. So when he was first diagnosed, he had what's called hydrocephalus, which is a buildup of spinal fluid in the head. So his tumor was blocking the ventricles in our brains that distributes that spinal fluid. And so he had to go undergo surgery the next morning to basically relieve all of that built up pressure. He was also, I forgot to mention, he was having headaches at nighttime, and we didn't know why. That's because that's when the spinal fluid kind of regenerates overnight. And so it's creating a lot of pressure in his brain, causing headaches. So he had surgery the next morning to put in a drain and remove some of that excess fluid, and then eventually put in a permanent drain when he wasn't able to just maintain that level of spinal fluid in his head. So he's undergone several surgeries now as a result of it.
Emily, one of our wonderful mothers and families from the Tom Coughlin J Fund, joining us here at the 17th annual TCJ Fund Radiothon on 1010XL. Emily, at what point does the J Fund come into your world? Is it when you guys are at Wolfson for Duke's surgery? Is it afterwards?
Yeah, I would say pretty immediately. So the first, 2 weeks, it was a little bit of just like an emergency situation where we're just trying to get him stable and figure out how we can get him home. But then very, very quickly thereafter, we went to our first oncology appointment in office once we had gone home. And we met our social worker there who introduced us to the J Fund. And they, explained to us kind of the support that they could provide to us during this time, as there's a lot of things that you wouldn't even think about as you're kind of just very focused on the here and now and what's happening with your child in that moment. But they shared with us, some of the ways that they could support our family and immediately connected us with them. And then from there, we were able to make that connection and start taking advantage of some of the amazing services that they offer.
What are some of the services you guys have been able to take advantage of so far?
Yeah, so they really are focused on caring for the whole family, not just the child, because I think that's always a misnomer that it's very much directly the impact to the person that's going through it, but it's just such a extensive network of people that love and support that person, who really have a very big change in their lives, and it uproots everything about your day to day. And so what the J Fund has done for us is they offer a lot of caregiver events to help take care of the parents so that we can actually feel regenerated and able to take care of our kids ourselves. But they also, of course, are really good at, back when I was a kid, I feel like it was exciting to be able to get an email, and that was like the big thing. Now I feel like for kids, it's back to snail mail. And so getting packages,
actual physical stuff. Yeah.
Is really, really exciting. And so my son actually had to be admitted again this past September because chemotherapy had stopped working and he's experiencing some growth. He had to have another surgery. And just coincidentally, that was Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and the J Fund had this amazing box that had like snacks and activities. And it was just perfect timing because we were sitting there in the hospital just kind of bored, and we got that in the mail one day, and I got to bring that in to Duke, and it just brought the biggest smile to his face. So of course it's a lot of things like that, providing support and events to engage with the families, but also they've been able to help us financially as well during this time. I was sharing with you guys beforehand that we are what I would consider to be in a pretty fortunate position, considering what I know a lot of other families go through. But even then, Duke having this unexpected blip in his treatment, having to be readmitted to the hospital for a week. And my husband had actually just accepted a new job that he was supposed to be taking after it being a year of just being Duke's primary caregiver. And a year of that lack of second income is really difficult. And so he was supposed to start a new job, and we found out about what was happening, and we knew he couldn't move forward with it at that time. So the J Fund was able to step in and actually help us with our mortgage for a couple of months because we, just after a year, things start to get pretty tight. So they've really been able to help us financially, as well as all of the additional support and programs and packages that they've provided too.
Which is one of the things Tom Coughlin, Coach Coughlin, said earlier was you can't fight cancer alone, and that stuck out to me, and we were kind of talking about that off air too. But tell us a little bit more about Duke. You said first grade. What are some of the things he likes to do right now? Does he have hobbies? Does he like school?
Most of the time, I'd say yes. He really loves his friends at school, and so it's always fun for him whenever he gets to go back after a hiatus like he had in September. But otherwise at home, he loves to build Legos. It's like his pride and joy to be able to tell you that he's been able to build 18-year-old plus sets. He's so good at building Legos. He loves to share his accomplishments there. But yeah, he loves Legos a lot. He loves playing with his baby brother. He just recently was able to start doing swim lessons, which was so nice because after a year of really not being in physical shape to do much, being able to get back into something that makes him feel really confident in his physical abilities, I think is really special for him. So he's started to get into swimming, and he just got promoted to the next level. So he's really proud of that.
Yeah. So today, like you said, he had a setback in September, but today, how's he doing?
He's doing great. So after getting off chemotherapy because it was no longer working and he was having some growth in his tumor again, we were able to do a debulking surgery, they call it. His tumor, unfortunately, is inoperable in the sense that they could never remove the full thing. So he'll actually have this tumor for his entire life. The goal for us is to stabilize it and basically what we call turn it off so that it won't keep growing. But so he had that surgery. He got off chemotherapy because it was no longer working, and now he's taking a pill that he just takes twice a day. And it's intended to inhibit growth of the tumor. So the quality of life has really gone up dramatically, no longer having those weekly appointments to go to chemotherapy, and all of the side effects that come with chemotherapy are pretty rough. So his energy level is up, and just the quality of life to be in school on a regular basis is really, really been beneficial for our family.
Emily, as we wrap up with you here at the 17th annual Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon, I certainly want you to explain to our listeners, we call them Heeligans, by the way, since this is Helmets and Heels, why it's so important to support families like yours that are tackling childhood cancer. But you also brought up Benny, your younger son. And for me, that's one of the coolest parts of the Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon is so often it's the siblings that get left behind, that are forgotten about because the parents are so focused on the child who's a patient. So explain why the J Fund, or how the J Fund has also stepped in for your other son as well.
Yeah. So actually this past February, we went to an event that the J Fund put on at Urban Air. And I can tell you that my youngest son, Benny, probably enjoyed that just as much as any other kid there. So, you know, including the siblings and things, and making them feel not just like they're seeing, you know, kids can sometimes see their other sibling get a lot of things. They don't understand that they're getting it because they're going through something really difficult. So especially for at the time 2-year-old,
Mine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, wait.
It's like, why is he getting all these Legos and all this cool stuff? But so including him in fun activities and giving him some opportunities to kind of get away from some of the monotony of the things that we have to go through as a family on a weekly basis, I think is really important, and it helps to kind of bring the family together and keep the siblings close despite the different experiences they're going through.
Smiles. That's what we like to see, even throughout all of that trauma. Well, we want to thank you to the Lewis family, Mike, Jane, Michael, Emily, and Jennifer for matching gifts this hour of the J Fund Radiothon. All gifts will be doubled during this hour, up to $6,000. So we really appreciate the Lewis family. As Emily's told you, give today. Call 904-207-7070 at the Community First Hope Hub, or text GOAL 44834. Text GOAL 44834. Emily, thank you so much for sharing your time, and we will be certainly hoping that Duke's tumor stays off for the rest of his life.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you. We've got more to do. It's 1010XL on 92.5 FM.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T here. And fellas, we all know that athletes train every day to perform better on the field, right? But what if you could enhance your performance in the bedroom? No training required. That's right. I'm talking about that secret weapon, Blue Chew. A chewable tablet with the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin that ships right to your door in a discreet package. No doctor visits, no trips to the pharmacy. It's all online. Their licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. They also have Daily Tad that contains 7 essential vitamins. And it's chewable too. And now you can try Blue Chew for the free ski. That's right, for free on me. Visit BlueChew.com and enter my promo code 1010XL. You only have to pay $5 for shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's promo code 1010XL. Let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all-you-can-eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses an AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched the home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you can be credit card debt free. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLS, consumeraccess.org.
Why buy from Hodges Mazda at the Avenues? Because they strive to ensure a satisfying and comfortable car buying experience. And now they are giving back. Lauren Brooks here. Hodges Mazda wants to say thank you to all educators, first responders, and healthcare providers by offering a complimentary oil change and car wash during the Mazda A Season to Move You event. Call today or schedule online at HodgesMazda.com. Come experience for yourself the Hodges Mazda difference. Free oil change not to exceed $79.99, excludes diesel vehicles, expires December 31st, 2024. See dealer for complete details.
1010XL's early high school signing period coverage is shaped by San Jose Collision.
We've got scholarship offers from Auburn and Florida.
Listen all day as our star high school athletes reveal where they plan to play their college ball. It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Is your AC ready for the holidays? Bold City Heating and Air ensures your AC stays in tip-top shape. We know that a clean AC is a healthy AC. Upgrade yours for just $96 a month and enjoy free duct cleanings with your new system. Plus, ask about our 0% financing options.
Bold City AC. We got the crew. Bold City AC.
Visit boldcityac.com. When you need a mechanic you can trust, visit AA Automotive on Richard Street. For oil changes to complex repairs, AA Automotive is a full-service repair shop for personal and commercial fleet vehicles. Trust AA to keep your ride running A-OK.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On December 4th, 1962, in the NFL Draft, running back Ernie Davis, Heisman Trophy winner from Syracuse, was the first overall pick by the Washington Redskins.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too. From Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Here's a special message from our president.
Thanks, David. This is Jordan Harrington, president of Royal Pest Services. We'd like to thank everyone who has trusted Royal Pest for their pest control needs this year. Wishing all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the Royal Pest family.
Welcome to ABS Advanced Business Solutions, your local print management partner, and home to Xerox and HP copiers.
Advanced Business Solutions.
GoABSinc.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson was asked for his reaction to Texans coach DeMeco Ryans, saying that the Jaguars overreacted to the hit on Trevor Lawrence.
I was a little surprised, and look, I've got a ton of respect for DeMeco. He's a former player. I'm a former player. Emotions run high. I would say that if it happened to their quarterback, I think the reaction would have been the same, quite frankly. I mean, so, but again, this was 3 days ago. And we're on to Tennessee, obviously, and focus on that. But I do think that the reaction is a natural thing.
Doug Peterson this morning. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
I'm Tom Coughlin, and welcome to the J-Fund Radiothon on 1010XL. Please be there for these kids and their families tackling childhood cancer by giving today. Call 207-7070 right now.
So they really are focused on caring for the whole family, not just the child, because I think that's always a misnomer that it's very much directly the impact to the person that's going through it, but it's just such a extensive network of people that love and support that person, who really have a very big change in their lives, and it uproots everything about your day to day. And so what the J Fund has done for us is they offer a lot of caregiver events to help take care of the parents so that we can actually feel regenerated and able to take care of our kids ourselves.
Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale Lighting, Fans, and Home Decor on 1010XL.
We really appreciate Emily coming in, and we wanted to share a story that she told us off air, but we could have asked it on air. We just ran out of time. But Taylor asked Emily how they came up with the name Duke for their 7-year-old son. And she said, surprisingly, she and her husband went to grad school at North Carolina, and yet they still went with Duke because they liked the name. So I think that's fantastic.
It is. And it's funny because the moment I saw the name Duke, I was like, I wonder if one of them are Duke fans.
Right, of course.
And that was the first thing that came to my head, but we didn't get to it on air. And so I was like, I have to ask you this.
Right.
And then when she said that, I was like, what?
That's so funny. It would be like if I had a daughter and I named her Georgia.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so
Yes,
funny to me.
perfect. Yeah, exactly.
It is our Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon, the 17th annual. We want you to be there for families tackling childhood cancer. We're asking you to donate $115, representing the 115 kids in our area that will be diagnosed. But certainly you can give a little bit less than that. You can give a whole heck of a lot more than that. And we want to thank the Lewis family, Mike, Jane, Michael, Emily, and Jennifer, for matching gifts this hour up to $6,000. All those gifts will be doubled thanks to the Lewis family. So again, call 904-207-7070, the Community First Hope Hub, or text GOAL 44834. My mom texted me from New York, so her donation is in and our donation is in. So certainly thank everyone for donating between now and 2 p.m. Right now it's time for Taylor's Tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
So I've seen a couple clips recently, and they were both just more so funny to me, but also we've talked about the fuel people use from previous games, previous seasons, previous teams they played on, and how they use that moving forward. And we've used a lot of different examples here in Jacksonville when players leave Jacksonville and go somewhere else, or when a player comes to Jacksonville and you're facing their former opponent. When Doug Peterson's playing Philly, we've talked about
Judy on Monday night went off, and he said he couldn't wait to kick their behinds, the Broncos.
And so Jerry Jeudy was one of the clips that I saw that made me think of this, and Jerry Judy's comments made me think of a clip I saw of Saquon Barkley's comments, which were hilarious. So I do have a clip to share with you in a second with both of them. But first, yes, Jerry Jeudy, 9 receptions, 235 yards, and a touchdown in his return to playing against his former team in Denver. When Saquon played the Giants that game, he had 176 yards and a touchdown against his former team and the Giants. And he is probably you're in the division, and so that is probably even extra fuel.
Absolutely.
And
which is a dumb move in the first place, but that's neither here nor there.
But it's all right. They're going to get the number 1 overall. Okay.
Maybe.
Continue, Taylor.
Well,
Continue.
we've got Calvin coming to town. I guess this also sparked that. But RJ, do you have the clip ready for us?
Like when Zeke went to New England, he came back. They put him on a board, like, thank you to Zeke. And I'm like, I know I'm not getting that in New York. So I was like, that's really the only moment that they can boo. Like, I'm probably going to get boos in the pregame and stuff like that. I ain't getting nothing really. But kid you not, they went 3 and out. And the O-line's out there, you know how it's TV timeout. So I'm just like, I'm in my normal bag. I'm going out there. And when I started walking out there, I was like, whoa. Have you ever heard 50,000 or 60,000 fans boo you? But to be honest, full trans, it really made me feel like something other. I've never had that feeling before, because usually you'd be like, damn, some people like, damn, they booing me. It wasn't really like that. I really was like, I'm really that muck that they are booing me.
I heard it.
Right, I mean,
there was a lot of boos, huh?
It sounded like it.
What that means? There was a lot of catches too.
So that is Saquon, the first clip, and then Jerry Jeudy in that second clip. But it is, I loved those moments because for Saquon's been an idol. People love Saquon Barkley, even in New York. And I know Giants fans, obviously, you leave to the rival of that team. And so there is going to be a little extra hatred. But I love how he's like, I knew New York wasn't doing that welcome back. New York's not going to do that. But using that to fuel things moving forward, like that moment made him feel better than moments getting cheered for in a positive way, because that showed how much he meant to a fan base and how good he is. And so Jerry Jeudy too. Jerry Jeudy in this moment, and he had an absolutely fantastic game. And going back to playing a team who felt like they didn't want you, that has to be a great feeling.
For sure. Do you want people to come in and boo us each day right before the show?
I'm not sure how I would handle it.
You might want to fight them.
It's funny that you bring up Calvin Ridley, though, Taylor, because I was on with our friends at 104.5 The Zone this morning, and they asked about Calvin Ridley. Where did it go wrong in Jacksonville?
I haven't thought twice about him, honestly, since the beginning of the season.
Neither have I, and I've told them, I've communicated in speaking with them, not just today, but throughout the last few months. Like I've said to that whole crew up there, I'm like, yeah, I really haven't thought about him because they drafted a guy by the name of Brian Thomas Jr., who is the circle peg in the circle hole that this team needed. And Calvin Ridley perhaps was miscast here in Jacksonville. But then they followed that up by asking, do you think the Jaguars will be thinking about the last trip to Nissan Stadium, which ended their playoff hopes a year ago, and that idea that Saquon Barkley and Jerry Jeudy both hit on about the past fueling you?
Yeah.
And look, the Jaguars are eliminated from the postseason at this point. The Titans are all but eliminated as well. At the same time, like I don't see like the fuel per se that a Saquon Barkley leans into, which I think speaks to the bigger conversation that we not only had earlier in the program about Doug Peterson and just his approach to life, versus Saquon's approach to life, where he needs to tap into what is fueling me at this point, as opposed to just enjoying the process.
Yeah, I'll actually go off of something that Gus Logue tweeted out yesterday, and he said Brian Thomas Jr. going up against Derek Stingley Jr. is now the new rivalry, and that's very similar to what we had before with like a Jalen Ramsey and the different Titans receivers. And so I love that in general because, or Texans receivers, depending on where DeAndre Hopkins was playing. But I love that because that's the type of stuff that you certainly look forward to year in and year out. I don't get that sense that right now the Titans and the Jags hate each other. Like fans that will always hate the Titans, don't get me wrong. But I don't think that these two teams, I don't feel any juice going into
not
this.
even like Arden Key. Like not even the Arden Key revenge either.
They're both not very good. So when you're not playing good football, then it's hard to be extremely passionate about a particular matchup. There will always be that. Like it's going to be one of those games where I would guarantee you that coming out of this game, there is something we're talking about on Monday that a player ran their mouth to someone or BTJ clapped and one of the players got a little feisty, because there is that edginess and it's always going to be a part of the Jags and the Titans. And you don't lose that. But I do think because of obviously everything that's happened with the Texans the last year, the Texans have kind of started taking over that spot. And when it comes to the Calvin stuff, I think that for me, it's not, nobody here is sad Calvin Ridley's not here. For us, it almost is more like watching Calvin come, like watching the Jags play Calvin is more so like you don't want him to do good, obviously, because you don't want it to be a thing where the Titans are like, haha, like he had 200 yards against you guys. But to me, it's more so us being like, thank you for taking him, because then we did go draft a guy named Brian Thomas Jr. We didn't spend money on Calvin Ridley, and we're very appreciative of that.
Yeah, look, Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be a fantastic football player for this organization, and I guarantee that teams that passed on him, that took some of those other higher receivers, maybe not all of them, but some of them are probably going to wish in 5 years that they had Brian Thomas Jr., that's the guy that they had gone after instead of the guys that they did. We have some fantastic news to share right now. Speaking of fantastic.
We do. We are closing in on that $6,000 goal that we have for this 12 to 1 p.m. hour for the Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon. Again, all gifts doubled during this hour up to $6,000 thanks to the Lewis family of Mike, Jane, Michael, Emily, and Jennifer. We are officially Heeligans at $4,740 since we came on the air at noon Eastern. We'd also like to shout out Fantastic Floors with their donation of $1,010, 1010, and that is dedicated to Val Beretta.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. I know it's always hard to deal with cancer in any form, whether it's a child, whether it's just a loved one. not just, but whether it's a loved one who's an adult, not a child going through it. And so certainly the donations in honor of people that they've lost, we certainly appreciate those, especially on this day. And you can call 904-207-7070. That's the Community First Hope Hub. You can also text GOAL to 44834. All right, let's hear a couple cuts from Doug Peterson before we say hello to Myles Garrett up in Atlanta, not the Browns, Myles Garrett.
Although he did get a couple texts earlier this week and a couple tweets accusing him of being that Myles Garrett. He shared those on social.
All right, Doug was asked earlier today if the Jaguars reacted enough.
It's a hard, physical, tough game to play. Okay? You've got to be a tough, physical individual to play this sport. I don't care what position, and to play football. We're not out to hurt anybody. We're not out to ruin careers. We're out to win a football game and play hard within the rules. That's our job, and that's how we coach it, and that's how we play it.
Doug Peterson then, that was with regards to several former Jaguars, including Bucky Brooks, Tony Baselli, sharing their experience of being involved in an in-game, on-field melee. And do you then, in the second half of a game, if that melee was to happen in the first half, do you perhaps, just follow through on a block
hit a little
harder?
Yeah.
And that was Doug's response to that. He was then, a follow-up question was asked of the idea of singling out the perpetrator in the second half of games.
Do we take it to the line? Yeah, we take it to the line. But if they're asking or suggesting that we go after something, we're not doing that. Flat out, we are not doing that. It's not how I coach. It's not how I'm going to coach these teams, these players. We're just going to go out and do our jobs, play hard, play fast, play physical within the rules.
But did D'Amico Ryans coach his player to do that?
To go.
I know Doug doesn't think so, but certainly there's a lot of people wondering something along those lines because he's defended that play multiple times. Nick Caserio certainly didn't rail against it. I totally expected D'Amico post-game, and then whether Caserio was going to speak or not, but to say, look, we love Aziz. He's a great guy. He has had a few different instances now, although I guess if they say that, that's leading towards a suspension. But either way, he's not a dirty person. He is at times a dirty player, or at least this was a dirty hit. That's what I thought was going to happen, and then we were going to move on.
Even if they didn't say the words dirty hit, if they
they're not correct. We'll coach it.
He's
how
going to take
address that
accountability.
situation next time.
Right. He is going to take accountability for his actions. That was never said by anyone in Houston, and that is why we are still talking about it, in my estimation.
No, he said this is the embodiment of the program,
of our
or
team. That's what Caserio said.
That is, I did. Did you see the comments Mac Jones made today, by the way, about him and John Wolford? Now,
no, he actually he just came. His press conference was as we came on the air at 12 o'clock.
So Fournette tweeted this: the Jaguars QB Mac Jones from Bulls said him and John Wolford from Bishop Kenny were laughing early this morning at the circumstances of both of them in the same locker room. Like, who would have thought we'd both be here?
One Bulls, one Bishop Kenny. By the way, their seasons ended last Friday night.
I know.
That was a bummer.
One more note from Doug Peterson this morning. A little bit about the on-field matchup that we will see on Sunday, although as our contemporaries in Nashville joked with me this morning, shout out to our friend John Burton, 5% of America probably will be tuned in to Jaguars-Titans, but that 5% includes you, Duval. Here's what Doug Peterson had to say about the defensive front for the Tennessee Titans.
One of the best we're going to see all year, quite frankly. They're big. They're powerful. The two tackles, Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best tackles in the NFL. Sweat's another one it's a rookie, but he's learning. He's a load. And we know Arden. Arden is a very athletic and speed rusher and plays with a lot of energy. But this front is going to be one of the better ones we've seen.
Feels like they're going to be protecting Mac Jones, the offensive line.
No question.
Big time.
No question. I followed that up by asking Doug about a Tennessee Titans secondary that, look, L'Jarius Sneed's been in and out of the lineup. They don't have any real marquee names outside of him, and yet they are the number one passing defense in the National Football League. He attributed a lot of that to that defensive line.
Yes, absolutely.
How much they help up front.
Yeah, they can get after it, and they have more than just two guys, that's for sure as well. All right, we will say hello to Myles Garrett up in Atlanta on the other side, but we do want to say thank you once again to Fantastic Floors for the $1,010 donation, and also to the Lewis family, Mike, Jane, Michael, Emily, and Jennifer for matching gifts this hour. And remember, you can call 904-207-7070. The Community First Hope Hub is ready for you, or text GOAL 44834. It's a super easy process. I just texted that. They send you the link. You put in your information, and you are good to go, and you get to feel a lot better today than you did earlier. We will say hello to Myles Garrett next on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Making the game last a little longer.
Join me, Hacker. And me, Leon Searcy.
And Coach Campo. 2 hours after the final whistle on game day. It's the window world of Northeast Florida 5th quarter. Presented by Von Rowan Lawn and Hurricane Grill and Wings.
Mia here since 1982. Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made this process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And be sure to check out their end-of-year sale, including 18-month special financing. Closets by Design at 1-800-293-3744.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
You want to know what 3 little words everyone wants to hear, especially this time of year? Toyotathon is on, and it's going on now at Arlington Toyota. Mia here. Arlington's lot is packed with hundreds of new Toyotas, and they're all marked with Toyotathon savings. How big are those savings? How about financing as low as 0% on select new models? 0%? When was the last time you heard the word zero? But before you get all caught up in the frenzy like me, remember that with every new Toyota purchase at Arlington, you get the benefit of their 60-day exchange program. That's 60 days to love your new purchase or exchange it for one that you do for total buying confidence. Plus, every new Toyota purchase from Arlington comes with Arlington's lifetime warranty. That's unlimited time and miles. So where should you get your Toyotathon savings? From Arlington Toyota. With a 4.7 out of 5-star rating and over 21,000 Google reviews, they do Toyotathon right. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Best Bet is #1. That's right, Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine have one-card poker, the fastest and easiest card game to learn and play. Play one card at a time, and the highest card wins even money. If the card values are the same, it's time for war, just like the game you remember. You must be 18 years or older to play. Learn all the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. In celebration of Awaken 180's 10th anniversary, Dave B., one of Awaken 180's very first clients, has a message to anyone looking for a long-term solution for weight loss.
When I kept the weight off the first year, when I kept the weight off the second year, when I kept the weight off the third year, when I was able to kind of just continue to sustain, and again, it was because I had the support. I know the support made the difference. All the different people I've talked to over the years, they've all been really very supportive. That was one of the differentiators where they were going to provide support to me for life. So it was the complete package. Paige, I want to say thank you for developing Awaken 180. It is an incredible program. It has changed my life, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you very much.
To piggyback on Dave's message, I also want to thank Paige and send my congratulations on Awaken 180's 10th anniversary. 10 years, over 23,000 clients, all of which receive free support for life. Find your solution at awaken180weightloss.com.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners. Financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey folks, Dave Binion with Zero Res. I asked my wife what she wants for Christmas, and she said the same thing she does every year. She wants a clean home full of family and friends. That means the carpets, the tile and grout, the large oriental rug in our family room, and the huge sectional sofa that everyone loves to hang out on all need a good Zero Res cleaning. Give Zero Res a call and get your carpets cleaned for only $49 a room, and get your tile and grout cleaned for 25% off. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
1010XL and the J-Fund thank Taco Lou for taking care of today's J-Fund volunteers with lunch. We appreciate Taco Lou keeping the Community First Hope Hub volunteers and J-Fund staff powered up as they take your calls in support of today's Radiothon.
When my wrist pain was acting up and I needed help, I took Dan Hickens' advice and headed over to see the experts at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. This is Stuart Moore with the PGA Tour. I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Whenever you have a need, they took great care of me. They'll take great care of you.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy. The next time you need orthopedic care, you can rely on our team at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Jingle bells, septic's gone astray. Oh, don't let your holiday stink in the worst kind of way. Call Duck Rooter and we'll save your sleigh and your day.
904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com. It's easy to be there for J-Fund families. Text GOLD to 44834 now.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyoublow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Prize Picks. Today marks the first of 3 early signing periods for high school athletes. Athletes around the First Coast will sign national letters of intent through Friday with their college program of choice. Starting off with 5-star wide receiver from Mandarin, Jamie French Jr., who signed with the Texas Longhorns and has been committed to them since August. Followed by 4-star quarterback from Mandarin, Tramel Jones Jr., who flipped from Florida State to the Florida Gators 2 weeks ago. Joining him down in Gainesville is teammate 4-star safety Drake Stubbs, who flipped from Miami to the Gators last week. Stay tuned for more local signing updates. Preparing for tomorrow's local college basketball matchups, the JU Dolphins will be hosting Florida Tech, tipping off at 7 o'clock. You can catch that game live on 1010 a.m. With the UNF Ospreys looking to bounce back after their loss to Nebraska as they host Warner with tip-off at 7. It's 62 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time in temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps local families battling cancer. I'm David Garrard, and you can help make a difference right now on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is Tom Coughlin. I'm encouraging you to be there for these kids and their families.
Call 904-207-7070 now.
Thank you for your support.
Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
The time, 4:37 p.m. this past Saturday. The text from one Miles Garrett of Fox 5 up in Atlanta. I told you the Jackets were for real. That text came almost 24 hours after Miles Garrett froze through an 8-overtime game between the Georgia Bulldogs, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. I'm going to read you one more text, though, from Miles, because we've been going back and forth about a couple different things this week. This one was from during our show yesterday as we get ready to welcome Miles onto the Garber Auto Mall hotline at 1:40 p.m. Tom Coughlin is more important than me, I fear. And so we appreciate Miles joining us on a busy Tom Coughlin J-Fund Radiothon. And Miles, first and foremost, hello. How are you, our friend?
Doing very well. Sorry, I didn't coach a Super Bowl winning team, so I understand the issue there.
Yes.
Or two.
Or two. Yes. Or two, as well as a team that went to 2 AFC title games here in Duval County. But that's why I don't think you will be offended when, before we get you on to talk about both the Dogs and the Yellow Jackets, Lauren has an important update for us.
Yes, Miles, we'll place you on hold. We'll actually hit you up for a donation as we tell everyone that we have now reached, as a radio station in the 17 years we've been doing this, $2 million.
Yeah.
We wanted to be able to announce that during our show, and y'all came through mightily as we raised in the first hour of our program $6,415. We appreciate the family for matching that. And so, yeah, Miles, 207-7070, 904-207-7070 is the number people can call the Community First Hope Hub. They are ready. They are willing to take your money, or text GOAL 44834. We're asking for $115 to represent the 115 families that are diagnosed in our area each year. And Miles, I'm sure you already made your donations, so tell us all about that 8 overtime game.
Yeah, I'll make sure to make that. But yes, no, that game was incredible. I mean, I was talking to all the other reporters down there on the field when we were freezing. That had to have been the best college football game I've ever covered in my life. And Mia, going back to what I said, if they had won that game, I think we had talked about it, I think Georgia Tech would have actually finished as the third best team in the ACC, but I digress. However, that game was fantastic. Haynes King, I think, really showed the entire country what we've seen for quite some time, and that he's just a warrior. I mean, the guy was doing it all through the air and on the ground, running the ball, and Georgia Tech really controlled that game for basically the entire game up until the last 5 minutes, and then they really traded blows there in overtime with Georgia, of course, coming on top. But, yeah, I mean, that this is really, I think, the culmination of what Brent Key has been trying to build there at Georgia Tech, kind of building this team through the trenches, getting them back to what, it was when Brent Key was playing himself back in the late 90s. Remember, he has a winning record as a player against the Georgia Bulldogs back then. Last time Georgia Tech actually beat Georgia in Atlanta, Brent Key was a player. So this rivalry was very personal to him. Obviously, you saw the emotion at the conclusion of that game, him and Kirby Smart embracing. There's a lot of respect there for each other. So Georgia Tech definitely on the come up, and I think that game was really epitomized by that.
As one of our listeners said on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, as a Dog fan, tell Miles to tell Brent Key, thank you for not having a designed QB run in overtime to give the Yellow Jackets the dub.
Yeah, it's funny. That was another thing we were talking about, some of the other reporters. It was like, oh, man, when's Haynes King going to take it inside? Georgia actually did stop him on one of those, I guess, option-type reads. I think it was whether or not he would hand it off to Singleton or take the ball himself, and he ended up taking it. And actually, I think it might have been the wrong idea for him to take it if he handed it off. But, yeah, I mean, it's been their bread and butter all season, and it was their bread and butter that Black Friday night with Haynes King rushing the ball in between the tackles. He was certainly beat up at the end of that game.
Let's talk a little bit about Carson Beck, because obviously that's a big storyline around here. Going to Mandarin here. The stretch of games, though, where Carson Beck, we were seeing him turn over the ball quite a bit, and there was a lot of people kind of concerned if this was a thing that was going to continue. And now it's been 3 straight games without a turnover, 11 touchdowns, no picks during that time. What do you think, or what have you seen change in that period of time?
Well, it obviously has to be the Cavender curse, right? No, no.
Hey, now, the Cavender twins are out here dropping 40 a game together for Miami, Miles. I mean, I'm not just saying, but I'm saying.
They're no joke. They're no joke. Yeah, no, but no, going back to Carson. No, Carson's kind of really had an up and down year. And if you really watch a lot of the tape of Carson Beck, yes, there have been some really bad games. The ones that immediately come to mind, of course, is Ole Miss and the Florida game, Florida, of course, being one that they actually won. But, of course, yeah, like you said, he has kind of turned a page these last couple of games. And I think the big thing really is just the offensive line protection. We have Rusty Manziel on with us quite a bit, and he talks about, I forgot the name of the guy, but right tackle, he's suddenly had a lot more trust in his offensive line now that these guys have started giving him a little bit more protection the last few games. I think that will be big going forward, because I think the big thing with Carson Beck this past season has been really the trust or lack thereof and kind of what his offense is. Because go back to like what it was last year. You're talking about Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers. These are 2 of the best players currently in the NFL as just rookies. So he had a lot of trust in those guys, a lot of reps with those guys. So it's kind of been a new page learning some of these new pass catchers. And Arian Smith, a guy who is counted on really as being one of your top pass catchers, has struggled a lot this season with drops. And that doesn't really show up on the stat sheet when it comes to Carson Beck. You go back to that Alabama game. You know, he throws a long ball to Arian Smith to start the game off. If it's caught, that suddenly changes the momentum of the game. Suddenly Georgia is not blown out in that first half, and maybe they actually win that game. And there was a few drops. I think I counted 4 of Arian Smith in the Georgia Tech game alone, which could have separated Georgia and had them, you know, maybe win it a little bit more comfortably than they did. So that's been another issue. Kind of the pass catchers, you know, they don't really have any of those big top 5-star-esque sort of guys that they can throw the ball to. They do have some good tight ends. Oscar Delp has finally turned a corner. I think they've been waiting for him to do that. He was a big-time recruit coming out of West Forsyth here in Georgia. But, yeah, I know. I think that's been kind of the big thing for Carson is finally trusting his guys to be in the right spot. Mike Bobo putting more faith in Carson Beck to kind of throw it downfield. There was a lot of screens early on this season, so I think we're seeing a little bit more of that.
Miles, on the other side, Georgia has struggled with the running quarterbacks this year. Obviously, we saw what Jalen Milroe did earlier in the season, and then certainly we saw what Haynes King did on this past Friday night. And so you've got Quinn Ewers, you've got Arch Manning if Texas decides to go with that 2-quarterback system. How do you think Georgia's defense prepares for that?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about Georgia facing off against this offense is they've already done it, right? And they dominated, really, for the most part in that game. You know, at one point, Arch Manning even came in during the game to relieve Quinn Ewers because he was playing that bad. So I think that certainly helps with how they're preparing for Texas this time around. Now, I think one big aspect of this is the game that Jalen Walker had the last time. I think he had arguably the best game any defensive player has had against one team this season. He was just balls to the walls that one game down in Austin. So I'm expecting them to do the same. Now, again, you're not wrong in that they have struggled against the running quarterback. I do expect to see Texas utilize Arch Manning in this game like they did last time. I mean, you saw against Texas A&M that running design play for him. You know, he brings a different aspect to that offense. So you're right, though. Georgia has struggled against it, and, you know, it's something that I think has been sort of their Achilles heel as of late if they can't stop that. But like I said, the big thing for them is that they do have tape on this, and they do have successful tape on this against Texas, in which I think it was a game, you could argue, probably their best win of the season.
Wrapping up with Miles Garrett on the Garber Automall hotline. Before we let you go, Miles, we were just talking about with the Jaguars facing the Titans this weekend, the idea of rivalry, previous games, players who have traded jerseys between the two sides. I'm curious, fuel for the fire this week for the Dogs going up against a Texas team that they obviously defeated in Austin. How would you evaluate the motivation that they are using heading into this matchup?
Well, I think the big thing that Georgia's using is motivation. I don't think the previous matchup has anything to do with maybe the motivation. I think really how the College Football Playoff Committee has sort of treated them, not just this year, but last year too. I mean, you're number one all season long. You lose one game and you drop to 6. I mean, that's unheard of, you know, just losing one game. And then going back to this year, losing to Ole Miss, dropping to almost out of the playoff completely. And then suddenly Ohio State gets embarrassed at home against Michigan and only drops a couple spots. I think there has been a little bit of disrespect when it comes to Georgia and the playoff committee. I think that's relatively unbiased. I know I covered Georgia, but I do think there is a certain degree of that given the reputation Georgia has had over the last 4 or 5 years with Kirby Smart. So I think that'll be a big part of it. You know, we've heard a lot of Kirby Smart talking post-game after wins, talking about what the playoff committee is looking for. And, you know, he always likes to take a shot at the network. You know, when ESPN picked Texas over Georgia the first time in post-game, that was the first thing he said. Everything, all you guys picked Texas to beat us. So I think he uses more of that to motivate his team. Kirby Smart's a very by the books, bring the lunch pail to work type of guy. So I think he's going to use that.
I do want to note, you did go to Elon University. You did not go to the University of Georgia.
I did. We did beat Notre Dame in basketball. I like to claim that one.
Boo.
Don't let Taylor Dahl hear that.
Miles, real quick before we let you go, Bama, Ole Miss, South Carolina, who do you feel deserves to have that spot in the college football playoff?
Oh, man, this will be controversial, but I actually really like South Carolina.
Yeah. So do we. This whole show supports
I think they're coming in high. They beat Clemson, and I think it's kind of messed up that Clemson doesn't really get punished as much because if they win this weekend, then they're suddenly in, whereas South Carolina is kind of out, obviously, and they're coming in hot. They beat a ranked Missouri team. They beat Vanderbilt, who's upset teams like Alabama. So, I mean, I think they've got a pretty good argument right now.
Yeah, we agree. Although it is, I understand, difficult when you look at how Ole Miss just destroyed South Carolina earlier in the season. So they're going to sit there and say, wait, it's us. And then there's Miami in the mix too. But Miles, we really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us today.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Miles.
That game is going to be fantastic in Atlanta on Saturday. 4 o'clock kick.
Yes, and you can find Miles, Miles. We have to always differentiate. Miles Garrett TV on X.
All right, let's say hello to our next J Fun guest when we return. You're listening to Helmets and Heels. It's 1010XL, 92.5 FM. And don't forget the phone number 904-207-7070, the Community First Hope Hub, or text GOAL 44834. We'll be back next.
Helmets and Heels. This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda dealers.
If you're feeling undervalued where you bank or lost in the shuffle, it might be time for a change. Community First Credit Union makes changing easy and worth it. We've been helping the people in North Florida live their best lives for over 9 decades. And we're here to help you too. If you open a Community First checking account, we'll give you a $200 bonus, and you don't have to refer anyone to get it. Visit communityfirstfl.org for details. Member NCUA. Bonus requires deposits totaling $1,000 or more and 10 debit transactions within the first 90 days of account opening.
Mia here for my friends at Projax Roofing. Meteorological hurricane season may have come to a close, but if your roof took on any damage at all during Hurricane Helene or Hurricane Milton or this cold spell that we're going through right now, know that my friends at Projax Roofing are here to help. From the smallest of repairs to full roof replacements, Mike has been serving all of Northeast Florida for 25 years. While we hope everyone stayed safe during those storms, if you need help with your roof, call Projax Roofing at 904-338-1722 or visit them online at projaxroofingfl.com.
Injured in an accident? Have mounting medical bills? Can't work? Don't worry. Zach's got your back. I'm Zach Von Rowan of Von Rowan Law. I will fight for the compensation that you deserve. Set up your free consultation at zachsgotyourback.com.
Mia here for MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step 1, use our promo code 1010XL. That will double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays. Why wait? That's right there, a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now and get your double deposit bonus with MyBookie, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere with MyBookie.
Helmets and Heels. Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Joe C. for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. There's nothing like the ambiance of a custom-built fireplace. The team at CSS can design and install the perfect setup, including wood, gas, and electric models, whether you want the elegance of an indoor fireplace or the warmth of an outdoor fire pit. You dream it, they build it. Visit their showroom or online at cssfireplaces.com.
You dream it, we build it. CSS.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Matt and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars to trucks to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Now is a great time to be there for J-Fund families. Text the word GOAL to 44834.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
If you know about artificial turf, you know it needs to be done right. Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Sunshine Turf, a family-owned company that will transform your outdoor space into the oasis of your dreams. A putting green, a pet run, a maintenance-free yard. Trust me, the team at Sunshine Turf are the experts you need to transform your lawn. With the highest quality products and budget-friendly pricing, get clean, low-maintenance synthetic grass by visiting sunshineturf.info or call 904-383-0243 to get a free quote today from Sunshine Turf.
1010XL and the J-Fund thank Taco Lou for taking care of today's J-Fund volunteers with lunch. We appreciate Taco Lou keeping the Community First Hope Hub volunteers and J-Fund staff powered up as they take your calls in support of today's Radiothon.
This is Hayes Carline for Skylife Elite. Explore the exclusive benefits of aircraft ownership. Partner with Northeast Florida's Elite Air Charter to unlock new revenue opportunities by putting your aircraft on charter, reducing your operating costs while enjoying full service management and exclusive perks. Whether you're a current owner or considering ownership, Skylife Elite provides a seamless, personalized experience that lets your investment soar. Call Skylife Elite at 904-403-2878 to discover more about this rewarding opportunity.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows and $2.95.
If your IT, data security, and your office copiers are operating perfectly, you must have hired ABS, Advanced Business Solutions, as your technology partner.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Elbow pain, whether acute or chronic, can make it difficult to do normal activities like playing sports, doing household chores, or even sleeping comfortably. Dr. George Barr here, and no one wants to deal with pain without solutions on how to feel better. We've all heard of tennis and golfer's elbow, but there's plenty more that can cause pain, like osteoarthritis, muscle tears, and nerve entrapment. All are treatable at Barr Orthopedics. Getting you back to full health is our mission, and there's a number of different treatment options we can offer. Call us today or visit barrorthopedics.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hi there, this is Chris Berman from ESPN, and I choose to be there for the Tom Coughlin J Fund because money goes to those who need it most. Families. They need emotional help, financial help, and the J Fund is there. You can be too.
Call 207-7070.
Next to me. We can see where things go naturally.
Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale Lighting, Fans, and Home Decor on 1010XL.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels on this very special 17th annual J Fund Radiothon. And we just announced earlier we have reached now the $2 million mark since we began this, when the radio station began way back in 2007. And so we appreciate everyone's support. Shout out to my friend Eric with Coyle and Sons. They just donated during our show. They didn't want us to lose. So $1,000 thanks to Coyle and Sons. We appreciate them. And we welcome in Rick and Jessica Vasquez and want to talk all about your experiences with the J Fund. But first, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having us.
Absolutely. So when you first find out that Kaylee's diagnosed at when she was how old?
16.
16. So a year ago, she's now 17.
Correct.
So tell us what that moment is like.
A little bit devastating, but she had a history of cysts. So we thought it was a cyst at first. And
Okay.
Went pretty much almost a year thinking it was a cyst. And the doctor had told her, look, if these come back, just tell your dad, and whether it grows or it's hurtful, something like that. And it just went on until finally she came home one day and said, I think this thing is growing. And when we first felt that, it was the size of a bean. And when she brought it to our attention, it was the size of a golf ball.
Oh, wow.
And we started looking for dermatologists because we thought it was a cyst, right?
Right.
Well, they actually ended up draining it like if it was a cyst, and then saying, we have to send you somewhere else. And they try to drain it again. And long story short, it's been about 3 months before we actually got to Wilson's. And finally there, the doctor said, I don't feel comfortable calling this a cyst. Let's do a couple of tests. And within about 48 hours, he told us the bad news.
Yeah, that's devastating when you find out Ewing sarcoma.
Absolutely. And when that happens, you obviously are handed devastating news. The J Fund steps in at what point to be that shoulder of support for you as you navigate now this new normal?
Very shortly after the first chemo, I believe, the social worker, Rosemary, came to us. She was amazing throughout the whole process. It was interesting because me being the sole provider, my family, my kids are homeschooled. you don't tend to look for help, especially not that early in the game. You don't realize what's coming really. You have other things to think about at the time. How bad is this going to be? What kind of therapies, how long, etc. And then she stepped in one day and told us about all this help. And I'm going, okay, so how many forms do I need to fill? How long is this going to take? And I'm still working, while we're going through the process. And she was just amazing through the process. No, the J Fund, there's no red tape. We got you. This goes from here to here, and which is amazing because we know when we donate, where that money goes to. It's directly to us. There's nobody, no intermediate, It was an amazing experience working with the J Fund all throughout. Still, even afterwards, it was a whole year, 14 chemotherapies, all inpatient. So it's been an amazing experience working with them. They've been there every step of the way, including even at one point, it was tough because we needed to do maintenance on our vehicle. And it's the only vehicle she has. She was coming up to Jacksonville. We live an hour and a half away, basically. And she was coming up 2 or 3 times a week. And I was like, we can't do this. And the funds are not there. And literally within a week of that, they came up and they're like, hey, we can help you with that. I don't think we even asked for the help. We just found out about it. So they come forward. They help every step of the way. It was like they never allowed the tension to build. Every time something was coming up, they step in many different ways. It's been an amazing experience working with them. Absolutely.
At first, we didn't understand what she was doing there, Rosemary. And we were thinking, we had too many things going on in our heads, and we were like, what is she doing here? What does she want? And then, the second appointment, we talked to her, and she explained it all to us, and she was like, let us help you. And we were like, oh, she wants to help. And right away, everything started right away since the beginning. Mm-hmm.
And that's a beautiful thing. Like you said, you didn't even ask for the help, and yet they step in and fill that gap financially. How's Kaylee doing today? What's the prognosis like?
She's doing very, very well. She just had her second follow-up scans about 3 weeks ago. Everything came back negative. So she's in full remission right now, doing great.
That's wonderful.
Yep. And let me go back a little bit because I have to mention this.
Sure.
Part of me being the head of household, it's hard to ask for help. So they made it very easy. They almost made it feel like, hey, you don't need to worry about this. We got you, whether you ask for it or not. We know what we're going through. It was, like I said, every step of the way. And I thank them for that because it's hard. It's tough to ask for help.
You guys live an hour and a half away?
Yeah.
Okay. Or south of here?
Yes.
Okay. And you guys still came up to be a part of the 17th annual Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon.
Have to.
Why?
I feel I owe them this and much more. We have to get the word out there. We can't speak highly enough of them.
We can't tell the story of Kylie without talking about J Fund because that's the number one question from our friends and family, and about the financial. It's like and all the costs and food and gas and this and that, and we can't imagine everything they're going through financially. So we cannot tell Kylie's story without saying how J Fund helped us through all the way.
They, speaking of food, you don't think about things like this, but when she gets admitted to the hospital, it's 4 of us staying in the hospital. The hospital will provide food for the patient.
Right.
That's it. So it's 3 meals a day for 3 other people, 5 days 1 week, 3 days the next week, plus the gas coming up an hour and a half up. And, so it adds up. Little by little adds up real quick. And it was great to see. All of a sudden, my account starts to change, and J Fund steps in and says, don't worry, we have your mortgage. We can pay for your insurance, for your vehicle payment, have discards for food. And every step of the way, I'm telling you, every time I thought about something, it's going to be rough the next month, and they were there.
Because all of your emotional bandwidth right now, right then, and even now, is going towards your family. And that way, that stress of the financial part, you didn't even have to worry about that. I love that. Jessica, I also love your accent. Will you tell people in Spanish why they should donate to the J Fund?
In Spanish?
In Spanish.
Mi experiencia personal, antes de Kylie y después de Kylie, cuando veo en tiendas, gas stations, potes con un sign, un papel que dice ayuda a familias con cáncer, siempre fui skeptical, siempre dudé. Yo decía, ¿dónde va ese dinero? But now, ahora, yo puedo animar a las familias que donen en confianza, trusting que ese dinero va directo a ayudar a las familias que tienen cáncer. Es una manera muy segura de hacerlo. Están ayudando grandemente y algún día, in the future, they might be helping themselves because el número de cáncer sigue subiendo y subiendo en niños, en las familias en Florida.
115 in the Jacksonville area. 115 diagnoses alone. I know. It's surprising that I was actually able to understand that, considering I did fail Spanish once upon a time. Also, if Jessica sounded like a natural, are we allowed to say that you do have a little bit of experience behind the microphone? Oh, we're not going to talk about that. That part we're not going to talk about. That part we're not going to talk about. We appreciate you guys so much coming in. One last thing that I do want to hit. You mentioned it, Rick. You guys are a family of 4, and I know that's something we just referenced with Emily, another J-Fund family parent, in the 12 o'clock hour. I think what is amazing about the J-Fund is that, yes, the focus is on the child who is the patient, but it's also on the siblings, the parents. Just give us an idea of some of the other services and the opportunities, whether that's date nights, whether that's events for the siblings that the J-Fund puts on and that you guys perhaps were able to take advantage of.
Interesting that you say that, because pretty much as soon as she was done with her 14th round of chemotherapy, we were like, okay, we're done. We can celebrate now. And within, I think, a couple of days of that, the J-Fund called us and says, hey, we have tickets to Bryan Adams and the Eurythmics. And this 17-year-old now girl, it's a totally 80s music fan.
Love it. Nice.
Hardcore 80s fan. So when I told her, but usually she felt sick a few days after the last chemo. So I said, hey, we have this chance to go to this, but, you know, I don't want you to be sick there. She goes, who is it? I said, it's Bryan Adams and the Eurythmics. Because I don't care if I barf into a bag. We're going. And she had the time of her life. Till this day, she talks about it. It was, we had an amazing time as a first experience coming out of this. It was perfect timing to cheer her up, and all of us actually, as a family, to do something like that. And we had a great time. And they've done that just a few times, actually, more than a few times.
And we met other family going through that.
We happened to meet in that same section at that concert, other families, so we could tell that it was just all J-Fund section. We called ourselves the Fourth Floor Club because the oncology ward is on the 4th floor there. But it was great to meet other people, listen to them, share our stories. It's kind of it's almost like a military group type thing. You have that feeling of, I know what you went through, you know what I went through, and it's sharing stuff at a different level.
Were there any other patients that were jamming out to Bryan Adams and you're
every single one of them?
I just love that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of date nights and opportunities for not just our patients that the J-Fund is assisting tackling childhood cancer, but their families, we are excited to announce that we did just get a call from Calford Chop House here in downtown Jacksonville. They have called in and said that they will help us raise the stakes. You get it? You get it? If we can raise an additional $3,000 by the end of this hour, by the end of Helmets and Heels, they will donate $3,000 in gift certificates so parents of childhood cancer patients can take a night off from cancer, enjoy a nice dinner out. Help Rick and Jessica get a night out. Come on, folks. Let's raise that $3,000 in the next half hour here on Helmets and Heels so we can help families just like the Vasquez family.
That's right. Community First Hope Hub right now, 904-207-7070. Text GOAL to 44834. We cannot thank you both enough for coming in and certainly for bringing the family too. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be back. One segment to go. Mia's got our My Bookie picks, and we will wrap up our portion of the Tom Coughlin J-Fund Radiothon, again celebrating $2 million raised in the last 17 years. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
We've spent a lot of time in our homes. I'm on a Zoom call.
Dinner's ready.
But we've learned that when we love our home, it loves us right back. Now you can keep that love going when you install energy-efficient natural gas appliances and earn up to $1,925 in cash rebates. You'll love endless hot water, faster drying and cooking times, and ongoing savings and comfort. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Homeowners, listen up. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Hey, it's Prosser here, and the Fed has dropped the rates again. The election is over, and Loan Pronto has APRs in the low 5s for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans. If your current mortgage rate is over 6%, or if you're in the process with another lender, don't settle. Call Loan Pronto now for a second opinion. Lock a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. And if you act now, you won't make your first payment till February. This 5-minute call saves homeowners an average of $5,000, lower rates and lower fees. So get your Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. It's Loan Pronto. Call them at 904-999-1508, or you can visit loanpronto.com. That's Loan Pronto at 904-999-1508, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. The Chick-fil-A Peppermint Chip Milkshake is a holiday tradition that's back for another season. Hand-spun the old-fashioned way, the festive peppermint-flavored milkshake is made with Chick-fil-A ice cream dessert and features chips of crunchy peppermint bark. It's minty, merry, and topped with whipped cream and cherry when served in stores. Order on the Chick-fil-A app now or at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Are you tired of spiders, ants, roaches, or other pests invading your home turf? Call the winning team at Kingfish Pest Control. I can tell you from my own experience, Kingfish will sack mosquitoes, tackle rodents, and intercept termites before they can blitz into your home. And right now, score 20% off your new pest control service when you start during the 2024 football season. Save big and defend your home with Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why, their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, you can take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. Wow, trust me, I searched up and down the Eastern Seaboard. That is an incredible rate. Find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates, and move in today. I'll say it again. 2.99% year one rate. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Joe C for Hard Rock Bet, and we're into the second half of football season. You've seen how teams are shaping up. If you haven't already, it's a perfect time to try your first bet at Hard Rock Bet. Perfect example. Earlier this season, a Florida bettor went 16 for 16 picking winners, turned a $15 bet into more than $100,000. Try Hard Rock Bet now and get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first doesn't win. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
1010XL's early high school signing period coverage is shaped by San Jose Collision.
I want you to go celebrate. Feel good about yourself tonight, okay? Come on!
Listen all day as our star high school athletes reveal where they plan to play their college ball. It's a Helmets and Heels Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Make your difference now. Text the word GOAL to 44834.
Hi, this is Jeff Norman.
And I'm Mike Jones.
And we are the owners of Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
With the holiday season upon us, we want to take a moment to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and say thank you to our amazing customers.
We're so grateful for the trust you place in us each year. It's been a pleasure serving you, and we hope you have a wonderful holiday season with family and friends.
And remember, if you have any issues, we'll be here to help throughout the holidays and beyond.
Merry Christmas from all of us at Duck Duck Rooter.
It's a sale so big, Santa wants to get in on it.
It's Beard's Diamond's incredible 44th anniversary sale, held over till Christmas Eve. Everything store-wide is on sale, up to 44% off.
Beard's Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center or beardsdiamonds.com.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web. Precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At sportsforecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. Sportsforecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
With Trevor Lawrence in the NFL's concussion protocol, the Jaguars signed a familiar name to Jacksonville this week. John Wolford, a product of Bishop Kenny High School, was signed this week to the Jaguars practice squad. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson was asked about the signing of Wolford this morning.
Opportunity, he's been in the league. He's been with some good teams. Somebody that can, with Trevor obviously not practicing, being in the protocol right now, having the third guy here, especially on developmental practice squad, to help kind of give a look to the defense and for us too to put our eyes on him and see what see what he can do.
Doug Peterson this morning. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to the Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon to benefit local children with cancer. 1010XL 92.5 FM. You can help us be there for these wonderful kids and their families. Please call now.
Call 207-7070.
Thank you for your support.
I feel I owe them this and much more. We have to get the word out there. We can't speak highly enough of them.
We can't tell the story of Kylie without talking about J-Fund, because that's the number one question from our friends and family, and about the financial. It's like and all the costs and food and gas and this and that, and we can't imagine everything they're going through financially. So we cannot tell Kylie's story without saying how J-Fund helped us through all the way.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dalmia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you as we continue our 17th annual Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon. I think the biggest thing that I take away from Tom Coughlin and the work that he's done with the Radiothon in honor of Jay McGillis is I don't know what our community would be like with these families tackling childhood cancer without this. Like, they are able to focus solely on their families, their child, what they're going through, and the financial worries are set to the side, and the J Fund just steps in. What if the J Fund didn't exist and they'd have to go through all of this without that financial help, without the emotional support?
Yeah, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I know that the work that Wolfson Children's Hospital, Baptist, UF Health, that so many of the wonderful hospitals in our area, the work that they do would not be possible. Wolfson Children's Hospital would not be the premier children's hospital in Northeast Florida and have all of these extra programming that exists if not for the work of nonprofits like the J Fund and what they've been able to do in Jacksonville over the better part of the last 20 plus years.
Absolutely. And we appreciate Calford Chop House. They will donate $3,000 in gift certificates so parents of childhood cancer patients can take a night away from cancer and enjoy a nice dinner out. I just recommended to that family to go to Calford Chop House because it's one of the top local steakhouses in Jacksonville. And we appreciate them partnering with the J Fund. Again, call 904-207-77. Right now, you'll talk to the Community First Hope Hub or text GOAL 44834. All right, Mia, let's make some money.
Now, Mia's midday MyBookie picks. Experience the Vegas thrill from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
3 for 5 last week after back-to-back 4 for 5 performances. Can we finally go 5 for 5 in my midweek picks? Let's begin as we do each and every week with Thursday Night Football in the National Football League. Oof. What
It's a good one. We're not going to pick it this week because we like to make our picks on Friday, but it's a good one.
It is a goodie. Packers at Lions. MyBookie currently has this as a 3.5-point line in favor of the home team, the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 5-1 in Motown this season. I'm going to pick the Lions to keep it rolling. I have them covering that 3.5-point spread. I do think that one home loss to the Minnesota Vikings awoke something. You want to talk about juice. You want to talk about where your motivation comes from. That team plays with a chip on its shoulder. That team constantly finds motivation. So give me the Lions -3.5. To the college football ranks we go. We really won't have any action until Friday. I usually like to bet in our midday picks on a Wednesday or a Thursday, some action, some Thursday night action. We won't have any of that until Friday. A goodie, an absolute goodie. UNLV, Boise State, Mountain West title on the line. Boise State, of course, only lost once this season. That was to the number one team in the country in the Oregon Ducks. UNLV has lost twice. They lost to Syracuse in an absolute marathon in overtime, and they did lose to the Broncos on my birthday, Friday, October 25th, 29-24. That was a one-possession game. Both of their losses, one-possession ball games. Give me the Rebels to cover a 4-point spread against the Broncos. Of course, it's crazy to think, ladies, because the primary storyline coming out of Las Vegas the month of September was
Matthew
what, Lauren?
Sluka.
Yeah.
All about the quarterback.
Give me more money.
Yeah.
All about taking my talent elsewhere. Well, he did.
And he did, and guess what? UNLV is still winning. So it's a great story.
Is he elsewhere? I don't think he's elsewhere yet.
Probably not yet.
He's preserving this year of eligibility because I don't even know how many years of eligibility he had left. So, yes, give me the Rebels to cover that 4-point spread as underdog. So, Lions, Rebels. Let's hit the NBA. RJ, perhaps a bit of a surprising loss in the NBA Cup last night for the Orlando Magic at the Garden?
Not at all. I mean, you're facing the number one, or I'll just say top five so I'm not misquoted or misquoting anybody. Top five half-court defensive team in all the NBA, and then you're facing one of the best offensive teams in the NBA with a duo such as Jalen Brunson as well as Karl Anthony Towns and an OG Anunoby who just wouldn't miss. Was a beach ball in the ocean for him last night, shooting from downtown. So, not a surprising loss at all. The amount of points
That's
in which
the margin
Orlando
of defeat is what
lost
surprised me.
Was absolutely surprising. But losing to the New York Knicks, I wasn't surprised by the fact that they did lose. Just the final tally was absolutely surprising.
121-106, easily one of the larger margins of defeat for Orlando this season. Good thing, though, they get to face the second worst team in the Eastern Conference, which is so weird to say. The Philadelphia 76ers are 5-14. The process is not working in the city of brotherly love, folks. So give me the Magic to cover a 5.5-point spread in that upcoming matchup with the 76ers. The college hardwood absolutely loaded tonight, folks. We have 11 of the top 25 teams in this week's AP poll in action tonight. That includes four inter top 25 matchups with the SEC and the ACC Challenge, as well as the Big East Big 12 Challenge ongoing. I can't believe I'm going to do it, but I'm going to play it. Number 2, Auburn, who is number 1 in the Mo Bryan AP Top 25 ballot this week, travels to Cameron Indoor to face number 9 Duke. You may recall the Duke Blue Devils, 2 losses this season, 1 possession losses on neutral courts to Kentucky and Kansas. Late game situations have plagued John Shire's young squad. Cooper Flagg with the turnovers against Kentucky at the Champions Classic. Con Knipple, the turnovers in Las Vegas against the Jayhawks last week. Third time's the charm, right? Duke has to finally win one of these big games. It's a prime opportunity for everyone to say, oh, they're back. Here they are. Everyone wants to talk about Cooper Flagg taking down one of the top 2 teams in the nation. They finally get right. Give me the Blue Devils to cover a 3.5-point spread this evening in Durham, North Carolina. And finally.
Yeah, I was going to say, and we have one more.
Yes, one more. One more for our 5-pack. I actually don't have this line yet on my bookie, so you're gonna have to keep an eye out for it.
We're just gonna hope.
Dawn Staley's South Carolina Gamecocks, the women's basketball front. The schedule is loaded tomorrow. That includes at 9:00 Eastern on ESPN. Number 3 South Carolina will host Kara Lawson's 8th-ranked Blue Devils. The Blue Devils are one of the hottest teams in women's basketball right now. They're knocking off everybody. So please give me the Blue Devils. I'm fading South Carolina. I never say that on this program about any of the Gamecock outfits, but I am fading South Carolina after back-to-back 40-point victories against the likes of Iowa State and Purdue. So give me whatever the spread is, Duke will cover against South Carolina tomorrow night.
That's a bold one when you don't even have the spread.
I
and
don't.
You go for it.
We expect it to be it's going to be a double-digit spread is the expectation. And I will also take TCU, the second hottest team in the country right now, led, of course, by Haley Van Lith in her third landing spot through the transfer portal. They're 9th ranked right now. I will take them to cover against the aforementioned Gamecocks Sunday in Fort Worth.
All right, let's cool down, RJ.
Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
I'll cool down with the fact that we just raised another $1,780. But remember, Heeligans, we have to get to $3,000 by the end of this hour because Calford Chop House will donate $3,000 in gift certificates so parents of childhood cancer patients can take a night off from cancer and enjoy a nice dinner out. And we just got some information that will certainly help, Mia.
Yes, we just received an anonymous donation for $1010. That's $1,010.
Nice.
That is dedicated to Harry O. And a note off the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Our good friend High Tide on the South Side just made his donation from him and his bride in honor of Roxanne, who they think of every day.
Oh, very
Thank
sweet.
you.
Like I said, it's the gifts in memoriam that always touch your heart even more, especially the ones going through it right now. All right, that's going to do it for us today. And we really appreciate all of the listeners who have been donating, but to continue to do so, keep calling the Community First Hope Hub, 904-207-7070, text goal 44834.
Do want to make a note, too. Hey, Calford Chop House, folks, make sure you get those donations in before 2 o'clock. $3,000 worth of gift cards donated to parents of childhood cancer patients if we can get to that 3,000 mark by the end of this hour.
For Taylor Dahl, for Mia O'Brien, for RJ Saunders and Lauren Brooks, and we appreciate all of our friends at the J Fund today for all that they do. These seals are made for talking. We'll talk to you on Friday. XO